Your country was named the 2019 UN Champion of the World. That's a pretty big responsibility, a very big title. So I want to get your thoughts on that award based on the efforts that you've been making and what you plan to do to live up to such a lofty title.
Well, yes, it's a huge responsibility. I actually think that the award is granted to the whole country. It's granted to Costa Rica, to its people, and to its legacy. It's because on environmental issue, we took certain decisions decades ago, such as going in clean, renewable production of electricity with hydroelectric or geothermic, or with reforestation that managed to give us today the benefits that we managed to achieve. So it was bold and courageous decisions from the past that gave us the opportunities today, for example, of having 99% of clean, renewable electricity that we can plug into transportation and reduce dramatically our fossil fuel emissions. So it's good to have that award for the whole country, but that responsibility now, we have to take it to the next level. And that's why we launched this year, on February, our decarbonization plan to 2050 to keep on with the track of fully decarbonizing our economy.
Ambitious, difficult, talking about your goal for 2050, you also want to put together a global coalition to protect 30% of the planet by 2030. What do you say to all those people who are saying, wow, that's too much? It's too ambitious, or it's difficult. How are you going to get there?
Well, Costa Rica, for example, in the 1980s, decreased its protected areas, or in its forests, for example, to a bit like 20% of their territory. And that was not good for the environment. It was not being good for the economy. We changed the model, and currently we have more than 52% of our forests in a national park or a protected area, or even private forest being supported by payment of environmental services. But that model, instead of decreasing growth, increased not only forest, but economic growth. You see people coming to Costa Rica because of tourism, biodiversity, because of academia to study the biodiversity. So it has propelled the growth. So my approach to do this is protection is not necessarily an antagonist to growth and well-being. Our example shows that protection can be managed in a way that produces even a better growth and better jobs and better situations for the citizens.
Costa Rica has been at the forefront of a wide range of environmental practices in the region. Back in the 1940s, the government decided to make protection of the environment a matter of state. It's something that has been instilled in Costa Rica's culture.
What do you say to those countries that are larger and say, it's too expensive? Talk to us about the economic part of doing all of this.
Well, we have managed to do this and have these accomplishments, even though we are now a mid-income economy. When we started, we were a poor country. Now, actually, we are a mid-income country, thanks to the decisions that were made. And we have proven that these decisions go hand in hand, not only with sustainability, but with growth and inclusive growth. I know that whenever we talk about climate crisis, it's not only about environment. It's about transforming our economies. And whenever you say transforming an economy, people get a little bit shaky because markets are about confidence, are about growth, not necessarily about transformation. But this transformation is necessary because if not in the midterm or in the long term, there won't be any market or any economy at all. So it's a good investment to start now. And wealthy countries, big countries, have the resources to do that. But the resource is also to talk to people and explain we need a transformation, we need adjustments, and we need those to be inclusive. If we are going to change certain, let's say, coal, production with coal, if we're going to change that, we also need to provide opportunities to those peoples in those sectors. But those discussions we need to have frankly, openly, and understanding that it's not only about the present. If we only think about the profit and the utility in the present, we might be putting in jeopardy the future. So we need to think ahead, way ahead of a single lifespan. Humanity is not only about us that are living now, it's about the ones that are going to come. So we need to bear that in mind now when we take the decisions.
We know that Costa Rica is green. You have a lot of water around you too. Would you say that your country is also blue? I mean, what are you doing in terms of the waterways, the oceans, the marine life, and how, there's been a lot of talk about plastic in the ocean. What are you doing in that regard?
Well, even though we have advanced a lot, doesn't mean we do not have more challenges. Yes, we have lots of challenges. Plastic is one of our challenges. There are certain bills being discussed in the country, and also us as a government, we are leading an initiative for residue management. That it needs to get involved lots of people from local governments, from the central governments, from the private sector being big companies, from small unions of especially women that work together in the communities. We need to recycle more, give value to those residues, and improve the final destination in the landfills, but not with the old concept, but with the new concepts. So we are working a lot on that. Also to clean up our rivers. There's lots of pollution and we need to tackle that aggressively. And in the oceans, it's marvelous what we have in our oceans. Actually, Costa Rica is 92% ocean in its territory, which is marvelous. They're having also the Cocos Island, which is one of the greatest places on earth. But then still we need to expand the areas we have protected in the oceans and dialogue, for example, with the local fishermen to explain why is it so relevant to protect certain areas, but that which allows is to have more reproduction of species. And then when they get out of the protected areas, fishermen have more species, more product also to have their productive activity. But that needs a lot of dialogue and a lot of persuasion and a lot of science as well. But our blue agenda is one that we are working a lot because as we have done in the green agenda, as we have done in renewable energies, we also want to lead in matters of the ocean.
China is Costa Rica's vigorous economic partner. It's a partnership that dates back to even before their establishment of diplomatic links in 2009. But in the past 10 years, the two countries have made great advances in accelerating trade. Costa Rica was the first Central American country after Panama to sign an agreement to promote China's Belt and Road Initiative.
China is a big country, also working toward climate change. You're a smaller country. Do you see yourselves as parallel and working toward the same goal of the Paris Climate Accord?
Yes, actually we started diplomatic bilateral relations with China more than 10 years ago, and it's been a relation that's been strengthening throughout the years. And also in matters of climate change, we see ourselves as great allies. China has developed very interesting technology, also has been leading many initiatives, and we understand that to be very positive because China is a very big country. So having China being a positive agent in this matter is key for the whole world. So we see lots of alliances, political alliances in the multilateral sphere, but also bilaterally to have knowledge, technology, exchange of experiences. And I mean, this is the kind of work we need to do bilaterally and multilaterally to make a better world.
President Alvarado, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.